Welcome back to Barn and Soul, where we explore the rare, the wonderful, and the resilient. I'm Kendall, and I'm so glad you're here today because we're taking a journey through history. Not the history you'd usually find in textbooks, but the quieter kind. The kind written by animals who survived when they shouldn't have, and by the people who refused to let them disappear. These are legends of survival. And if you've ever wondered why Dalby Farm is so passionate about rare breeds, you're about to find out. But first, some fast facts about rare breeds in crisis. Did you know over 1,500 livestock breeds worldwide are considered at risk of extinction? In the U.S., more than 150 heritage breeds of farm animals are critically endangered. Industrial agriculture relies on only just a handful of animal breeds. For example, more than 99% of all turkeys consumed in the U.S. come from a single breed, the broad-breasted white. Rare breeds often have natural disease resistance or adaptability to harsh climates, traits that modern breeds often lack. The Livestock Conservancy estimates that fewer than 200 annual registrations can land a breed on the critical list. When a breed disappears, it's not just an animal lost, it's the genetic story of centuries that disappears with it. But thanks to small farms and passionate breeders, some rare breeds have rebounded, and we will be talking about more of those. But the work is just far from over. Part 1. Castaways of Ossabaw Island. Our first story begins over 400 years ago with Spanish explorers setting sail for the New World. They brought supplies, swords, seeds, and yes, pigs. Hardy little Iberian pigs that could survive pretty much anywhere. In the 1500s, when they reached what's now Georgia, some of those pigs were left behind on Ossabaw Island, a dense, wild place about 20 miles off the coast. For centuries, they lived completely isolated. No new pigs, no farms, just survival. Over time, they adapted. These pigs became smaller, tougher, able to survive on acorns, roots, and literally whatever they could find. Their bodies learned to store fat efficiently during feast times and burn it carefully during famine. Today, Ossabaw Island hogs are genetically unique. They have natural resistance to diabetes and obesity. They live in a pseudo-diabetic state. Traits that researchers study because of their potential to unlock human medical breakthroughs. But industrial farming honestly had no place for these wild little pigs. They were too small and too slow growing. By the late 20th century, the Ossabaw hog was quite nearly gone until farmers and conservationists like us stepped in. Here at Dalby, we are honored to raise Ossabaw hogs as educational ambassadors, and every visitor who meets them is introduced to a living, breathing survivor of history. Two, Rebels of Arapawa Island. Half a world away on another remote island, another rare breed was writing its own story. Welcome to Arapawa Island, off the coast of New Zealand. In the late 1700s, British sailors and whalers dropped goats off on the island, likely to ensure that they would have food sources if ever stranded. But here's the thing. No one ever came back for them. And those goats thrived. Over generations, they became uniquely adapted to the rugged cliffs and forests of Arapawa. Smaller, hardier, incredibly self-sufficient. By the 20th century, though, certain groups in New Zealand viewed the goats as threats to native plants, and they may have been. I'm going to study this separately, but anyway, all I know is that they launched eradication efforts, and by the 1970s, Arapawa goats were practically wiped out. They were nearly wiped out. Almost. But a few stubborn, persistent farmers, naturalists, and animal lovers refused to let them disappear. They captured and bred small groups, preserving bloodlines that could have been lost forever. And today, the Arapawa goat lives on, both in New Zealand and in the United States. In 1993, the Plymouth Plantation, which is now known as the Plymouth Patuxent Museum, imported six Arapawa Island goats, 3 does, and 3 bucks. By the early 2000s, the descendants of those original goats were homed to small satellite farms just such as Dalby. We were one of them. And there were only like 12 or 13 across the entire country that were up for this. So we all were, we linked up with the Plymouth Patuxent Museum and became home to the rarest goat in the world. We've been very lucky to work with these goats. They're quirky, intelligent, and incredibly tough animals who absolutely carry the wild spirit of survival while also clearly loving people who they trust. Not every survival story takes place on an island. Some happen right here in people's backyards. The American Chinchilla rabbit is one of them. In the early 1900s, American breeders developed this rabbit from imported French stock, aiming for a beautiful silver-tipped fur and excellent meat qualities. They succeeded. American Chinchillas became a prized breed, essential during the 2 world wars for food production. But when industrial agriculture shifted toward faster-growing commercial breeds, American Chinchillas fell out of favor. And by the 1980s, they became critically endangered. What saved them, you ask? Well, it wasn't corporations. I don't think there was a single government program. What saved them? Regular people, backyard breeders, 4-H families, and passionate hobbyists who quietly bred and protected these rabbits, sometimes without even realizing they were saving the breed. Today at Dalby Farm, we do continue that legacy by caring for and showcasing several American Chinchilla rabbits. Most recently, one of the more heartbreaking / heartwarming stories is Billy. She is a Chinchilla rabbit who was about to be culled because she is an albino. And the particular place that she came from, well, they were only interested in show rabbits. And so the fact that Billy was albino, well, she was no use to them. It was luck, and it was meant to be that my mom intervened and said, oh, no, we'll take Billy. We will bring her home. And so, looks did not kill in this case. Billy was able to come home, and she's been a timid but happy member of the family ever since. These bunnies do remind visitors that resilience looks like something small, soft, and silver sometimes. When we say rare breed, we're not just talking about something unusual or that looks funny. We're talking about animals whose populations are critically low, usually fewer than 2,000 individuals worldwide. At least that's the critical ones. We're talking about traits that can't be recreated once they're gone, such as natural disease resistance, climate adaptability, genetic diversity that could one day mean the difference between success and catastrophe. And yet, industrial agriculture seems to have no use for this kind of diversity, as it rewards uniformity. Animals are bred to grow fast and large as soon as possible, under really tight and terrible, usually, conditions. Anything outside of that structure fades away from just a logistical standpoint. But it's why rare breeds matter. They are living insurance policies for future food security, medicine, and resilience. And I've talked about this, and I will always talk about this. Some of you might find it to be repetitive, but it's the only way. I have to assume that some people will only hear this single episode, and so please bear with me when you hear me repeat things about why rare breeds are important. I have no choice. I have to assume that each and every solitary listener has never heard me before, and that this is my chance. So, yeah. So again, why am I focusing on this? Aren't they relics of the past? Isn't this progress? Aren't we doing the right thing? So, listen, we're facing a growing antibiotic resistance. We're facing climate change. We're facing environmental shifts. I don't know. We need animals that can survive diverse conditions. I don't know. Like the heritage breeds that are proven to be tough, that have survived shipwrecks, abandonment, war, wilderness. I mean, they're here because they've survived, and yet we're trying to shift to industrial, fragile breeds that are, oh man. I mean, I feel like it should be obvious. And yet, if it were obvious, would we be here? The beautiful thing is, you don't have to just be a listener to these stories. You could be a participant. Every choice you make holds power. I think that they don't want you to know that. And by they, I mean big pharma, big farms, big farm. They don't want you to know how powerful your choices are. They being the big industry. I'm not being controversial here. This is not controversy. I just genuinely think that why would an industry want you to consider the smaller option? They won't. You'll never say, oh, you know what? You'll never see it. These big industry factory farms go, hey, we're wrong. Nah, we're going to turn right around and just have satellite farms again. That'll never happen unless you say to them through your actions, well, this is what I want. Because then maybe you would see something happen. But it would have to happen in volume. And that's why I'm here, to inspire. So, if you are a meat eater, I don't judge you. I do too sometimes. I don't judge you. I'm not one of those types to force my particular beliefs or lifestyle onto anyone else. That's not my place. But I'm here to share information that may lead you to more informed choices. And by that I mean, if you are a meat eater, you might not want to always buy said meat at your supermarket, the main name brand markets. If you're bothered by any of the things I have talked about here, then I encourage you to do a little local research and see who in your area ethically raises heritage breeds for food production. They exist. they just don't get a lot of credit or a lot of highlight because, yeah, it's probably a bit more expensive. And there may be, a delay or a lag in from when you order the food to when you get it. But the quality will be unmatched, and you will be able to eat that food knowing that chances are that animal was raised in ethical, humane, respectful conditions and represents a hardy, threatened breed and lifestyle, farm, blah, blah, blah. I mean, it has endless rewards. There's endless pros to those choices, to having more informed knowledge of where your food comes from. That's all I hope to do, is help you support farms that raise heritage breeds. Choose meat, dairy, and eggs from heritage sources when you can. Donate to organizations like the Livestock Conservancy, Dalby Farm Animal Sponsorships. Visit our farm, or other farm fairs and expos that showcase rare breeds. Teach your friends and family about why food diversity really does matter. And just know that every rare breed saved is a future possibility preserved. The world is full of survivors, some with hooves, some with horns, some with both, and some with silky fur or webbed feet. Every time you notice them, share their story, or support their caretakers, you're helping shape a future that's stronger, more diverse, and beautiful. Thank you for being a part of this with us. Until next time, take care. If you enjoyed this episode, please share, leave a comment, maybe a question I can answer in a future episode. Subscribe to the channel, the whole deal. And of course, you can visit dalbyfarm.com. We do ship nationwide. Our country store has something for everybody. So I hope, and please know that all purchases, I believe it's at least 50% of each and every purchase goes directly back to the care and upkeep of this family farm. So we thank you very much. I hope this finds you well, and we'll see you next time. Oh, and don't forget to appreciate the rare and wonderful things in life.